Hi guys, Lindsay here with Sorbet Family Farm. So today I want to talk a little bit about my medical conditions because what I am capable of is not what is the gold standard for those that also have Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, also known as EDS. So I want to talk a little bit about what you guys see on camera versus what is reality, and what this condition has actually done for me in working on our fixer-upper and also our life of homesteading. So not only do I have Ehlers Danlos syndrome, but I also have a condition called POTS syndrome, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So basically what that means is when I'm standing, my heart rate is it's going ballistic and stuff. Like my normal standing heart rate is usually around like 120 to 130, which is what most people says when they're doing like decent amount of exercise. So my resting heart rate, like when I'm sitting or laying down, is really, really low. So usually anywhere from like 60 to 80. If I'm doing really well, it's 80. But a lot of times it's like in the 60s, sometimes even in the 50s, which is very common for people with POTS. And once they stand up, then it goes ballistic, which is what normal people do too. Normal people, their heart rate will spike up momentarily until their brain goes, oh, we're standing, we should elevate our blood pressure to make sure that there's blood going to the brain. People with POTS, it doesn't do that. So the heart rate just stays elevated because nothing in the brain says, hey, we should make our blood pressure higher so that way we don't pass out. Instead, it's all compensated by the heart pumping harder and stuff instead of adjusting the blood pressure. Whereas a normal human, it just gets adjusted. Like the blood pressure just gets adjusted, so your standing blood pressure is slightly elevated. Your heart rate will spike up for like a minute or so when you first stand up, but then the blood pressure will elevate slightly, so then that way your brain's still getting blood. Somebody with POTS doesn't do that. So that makes things kind of difficult for me. When you read about POTS syndrome online, you'll see that different information stating that it is the same level of disability as congestive heart failure in terms of how it affects your life quality and your ability to get things done, and your levels of fatigue. So not only do I have that, but I also have Ehlers Danlos syndrome, which is a collagen defect. So it makes it so all of my collagen, which is what makes up tendons, ligaments, cartilage, skin elasticity, all that stuff, it makes it all very inferior. So I'm very prone to a lot of dislocations, sprains, strains, and arthritis. So I deal with a lot of chronic pain on the daily. Just had to put my back in. So things are always constantly like going out on me. They're popping out. They're, not comfortable and stuff. So my entire life, I've pretty much lived in a state of mass amounts of discomfort. But I've learned that I still have things that I want to do. I don't want to just basically roll over and take it. I don't want to just sit down and die somewhere. I want to put as much living into this life that I've been giving as possible. With that being said, I know that I pay for what I do. It's very, very apparent to me and to my wife, actually. So yesterday, I worked outside. Me and my wife, we bought a fixer-upper about 5.5 months ago that we are homesteading on as well. We are very experienced with homesteading and gardening and that sort of a thing, and I am quite ridiculously handy. Had I not been given this body whenever I came to this planet, I probably would have been a carpenter or, a general contractor or something of the sort, because I really enjoy doing that sort of work, that sort of labor of building things, fixing things, renovating things, and also painting. Like I absolutely loved trim paint. Like that's my jam. But with that being said, I have a lot of knowledge and expertise in doing a lot of different things. So a lot of the big projects for this house, it's on me and stuff. Even if Tracy wanted to help with it and stuff, I really enjoy it. So I'm kind of like, this is kind of my fun. Like, you come hold this for me because I can't and stuff, but I want to do these things on my own. But so I want to show you guys what I got done yesterday, and then talk about like my symptoms from doing that, like my payment and stuff. So for those of you that have been watching our channel for a while, you know that this house does not have a furnace that we bought. It has one, but we have no idea if it works because it's just really super old. It's almost as old as I am. But so we are planning to heat with wood. So I've been gathering and procuring a lot of firewood, which is also very taxing on the body. So there was a window here. This is where we are going to put, for reference, over here is my kitchen. Over here is our laundry room area that is in addition to the kitchen. which is also where the back door is right around there. So this here was a window, as you guys can tell. I did take the window out yesterday and frame it all in properly so then that way it can become a wall. Our wood burner is going to vent out the chimney out there and then go, up, 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 and up. That was the easiest, bestest place for us to put a wood burner this year. So that's where it's going. But so just a simple act of being up on the ladder a bunch yesterday has my ankles pretty much in misery. For those of you that don't know, I do have to wear ankle braces every stinking day of my life due to so much ankle instability and having surgery. And they're jacked. Like, seriously, they're messed up. But all of the up and down on that ladder had me in so much stinking pain for my knees and my ankles that last night I barely slept. Like, that's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't talk about and that I don't talk about is how much insomnia I have simply due to being in pain. I have a heck of a time sleeping because I can't get comfortable. When it feels like your knee's going to explode, it's kind of hard to just be like, oh yeah, this is okay. Like, we can deal with this. And one of the coping mechanisms that I have, it's kind of controversial how I cope with the pain. My body, due to having POTS syndrome, that's why I brought it up earlier, because my blood pressure is also very low and my heart rate spikes very high, I cannot take traditional pain medicine. I also have a hard time taking anything that, is a green herb that a lot of places have legalized for pain relief. I can't take that because it makes me pass out. It makes me feel like I'm going to die and stuff. Like, it'll drop my blood pressure so stinking fast that I have to lay down on the floor, and sometimes I've started convulsing. It's almost like my body goes through the symptoms of an overdose with just the teeniest, tiniest amount, which made ankle surgery really, really a fun adventure to not be able to take pain medicine through that. But so the only mechanism that I have found that actually helps even slightly with my chronic pain is to drink alcohol. So when you see that I've done big projects and different things and all that stuff, what you don't see is how much I've drank to be able to cope with doing that. And then how much I've drank afterwards to cope with how much misery I'm in. And I'm not saying that I need help or that I'm some sort of addict or anything like that. I know what that looks like and that sort of a thing. But it is the only way that I can self-medicate. About 10 years ago or so is when ibuprofen and Tylenol stopped doing anything to touch any of my pain. I do still start with them, and I do still start with CBD oil, to try to, do more natural and more societally approved methods of pain relief. But it doesn't always work. Like, most of the time I take it and I'm like, yeah, nothing happened. Like, I'm still in agony. Like, this sucks. And that's the reality of it. But that is how I'm able to get so much stuff done. It's not that, because I know that for a lot of people with Ehlers Danlos, they're watching my videos and they're like, I don't understand. How can you do all this? Like, I'm laying on the couch in misery and stuff. And what you don't see is how much longer it takes me to get things done. That's why I don't film me doing stuff. No one wants to watch me go, oh, every time I go up a step on a ladder. No one wants to see me practically in tears just to lift that piece of plywood up. No one wants to see that reality that I live in and stuff. I am very blessed to have the wife that I do because she understands and she empathizes with me tremendously. So when I say I can't lift this today, even though yesterday I totally could have, she doesn't go, well, you should lift it anyways because, you could do it yesterday. She understands that when I do something physically exerting, I have so much recoup time that it's ridiculous. The weather today is perfect to be working outside. It is absolutely stinking gorgeous out. It's 68 or 69 degrees out, gentle breeze. It's perfect for getting things squared away at our house. But because of everything that I did yesterday, to enclose that, my wrist is sprained. I can barely pick anything up with my hand. It's very hard for me to move stuff today. My knees hurt like the dickens, and my ankles hurt really bad. And not to mention my back, my back pretty much always hurts. I remember being 7 years old and telling my parents my back hurts. And my mom's like, yeah, right, you're 7. It's the truth and stuff. I live with a lot of pain on the daily, but I have so much like in me that I want to do and I want to accomplish that I just sort of brush it off, push it away, push it aside and stuff. When every part of me is like breaking down, I then look at things like all the ivy that's growing on our house and I go, oh my God, that drives me crazy. So then I have to take it off and stuff. You know, it's just, I see different things that are really bothering me and I go, well, I can't fix my body, but I can fix this. So that's what I try to do. But every time that there's a big project done on our new homestead, just know that like behind the scenes, I am seriously, seriously struggling, that I am hurting, that things are very difficult for me. And like we're moving along really quickly, but that's also because I know what's going to happen to my body. I know that like my body is essentially a ticking time bomb. I also know that once wintertime comes, all of that arthritis that I have that does pretty well when it's summertime, it does not do very well in the wintertime. Like the content change once it comes to wintertime, you guys are going to be like, oh, this is like a totally different channel, because it is. It's a different version of me. It's a different life experience. When it's warm out and it's nice out and all that stuff, my blood flows really well. My arthritis is doing really well. There's a squirrel running around in the hemlock tree. I just heard it and I was like, ooh, I might be able to see it, but I didn't get to. Too tall. The tree, not the squirrel. But so there is so many things that I want to do and all this stuff. But I also know that once wintertime comes, like I become kind of like almost like the Tin Man and stuff from the Wizard of Oz. Like everything gets so stiff and so painful and so like stinking difficult for me to do because everything hurts really bad. And then with the POTS syndrome, that also makes it so you have like blood circulation issues. I also have, I know I don't pronounce it right, but this is how it looks, how it's spelled. Raynaud's syndrome, which is a circulatory issue where basically just the slightest bit of coldness will make it so that way my fingers and my toes go completely and utterly numb and my body cuts off circulation to them. So I'm very prone to frostbite and that sort of a thing. So when it's really cold out, I really can't be outside, even though I love it. I don't love the cold, numbness in my fingers, but I enjoy wintertime. It's actually my favorite season. But anyways, so I know that I'm racing against the clock, not only on my body and stuff, because the older I get, the more things deteriorate and the more things fall apart and that sort of a thing. But I also am racing against the ticking of the seasons and stuff, because right now it's September, but here in a month or so, we have to be able to have heat. We have to have the wood burner in there. I have to have enough wood to burn to keep it warm. There's a lot of things that I have to do and stuff. And like my wife, she helps and stuff, but there's different things that she's better at and different things that I'm better at. And like I have like the heart and soul of like a manual laborer. Like I absolutely love construction and doing that sort of a thing and building and creating and that sort of a thing. She's really good at like manager type stuff for our business. Really good at secretarial type of stuff. Really good with math. Me, not so much. Like yesterday, when I was working on that, I was like, can you come math for me, please? Like, I don't have the brain capacity today. I'm like, I'm hurting like the dickens. And she's like, I can do that. So she did managerial stuff and then math stuff for me. So in that way, it was just wham, bam, simple and stuff. Like it worked out. But I just wanted to address that with the Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, because I don't want people to think that because I can do certain things, that somebody that they know that has EDS can also do those things. It is a spectrum disorder. And the other thing too is, y'all will figure this out, like if you watch for an extended period of time, which I probably shouldn't even talk about this, but I'm kind of one of those oversharers. The other thing too that I've found with EDS is monthly cycles that a woman has, that affects what you can do. That affects your abilities. That affects how much pain you're in. That affects how your joints are handling. And that's something too that you'll notice with me throughout the journey of, turning this fixer-upper into our dream house, is that like, there's going to be bursts of where I'm pushing and doing so much stuff. And then there's going to be like a week where I just pull back and do like diddly. Well, you guys can guess what happened that week and stuff. It's all hormonal, but like it's for real what happens. Sorry, didn't mean to go all black out on you. But, it's very much real what happens when, a female has their cycle with EDS. It releases more estrogen in their body, and estrogen makes you, more flexible and yada, yada, yada. You guys can look up the science on it. I just know what happens to me. I just know everything hurts about 10 times as much whenever I'm around my period time than when I'm not. So that's what I wanted to address today. And this video was kind of brought up by the fact that like suddenly, all of a sudden, like today, like in my personal YouTube feed, not the channel YouTube feed, has been nothing but all these videos about EDS. So I figured I should probably talk about this because there's some people that I know that I'm friends with that have EDS that can't do what I can do, but I can't do what they can do. And stuff. Like it is very much a spectrum. So with saying that, if you know somebody that has EDS, please be kind. Please understand that there are days where there's going to be maximum amounts of productivity, followed by a crash, followed by not being able to do much of anything, followed by just a lot of hours of recovery for every choice that they make and every action that they do. So, but with everything, just be kind. Be kind to others. Be kind to those around you. Be kind to those that you don't know. Just be nice. All right. If you guys are enjoying this content, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends on social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to help us grow. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.